Let's see. But what happened? Kapil Arora. Okay, so please tell him. So he is the first guy who will be giving extreme experiments. Right? Okay, let's take one more backup as well. Add some more fun to it. Let's see who is the next person. Rubina again. He does not turn up or does not give session, so you are the second one. Okay. Now I will hand over to Pradesh. Who will give. So there are 3 sessions. One will be nominated by me. So either Rubina or Kapil will be. Then you can both can talk and decide.
Building your next REST-based web services using Spray. And I hope that after completion of this presentation, few of you will definitely give it a try. Someone from my teams asked me to nowadays क्या चल रहा है? It's fog. So I hope after completion of this presentation, you will be working on Spray, and when somebody will ask you in the team what is happening, you will say Spray. Alright, so for those who don't know me, my name is Brijesh Pant and I am consultant here in GBR from near about 2 years. Currently I am working for GBR Labs. So in next 1 hour, what we will be focusing on is we'll get to know what is Spray, why at all we need Spray, how does it fit in with the application you want to expose to the world. We'll see how to set up Spray environment by using SBT tool, and we'll see basic building blocks of Spray, and we'll also see the examples to create REST-based application. And also to support JSON, we will have the couple of examples which will using Spray JSON. So now, before I go further, I would like to know how many of you don't know about REST. One hand, two hand. Alright. So I'll start with this first. So basically, REST is a web service framework. So what are web services then? So basically, it is a piece of software which is available over the internet. So anybody else, any program which is outside of this scope of the network of the this web service can access the data from these web services. So basically it is available over the internet. So you need some network layer protocols like HTTP, UDP and TCP to access those network. Apart from that, it demands that it has to be independent of the languages and the platform. Like anything created in Java, if you want to use in Python or Groovy, Ruby or JavaScript for that matter, let's say something is there in the Java object model, then Python cannot understand the Java's object model. So there must be some communication medium in which both the parties can understand each other. So there are like JSON, XML, HTTP or just normal tags, or maybe in case of PDF or JPEG. So there are multiple formats in which you can access data from other web service, and you can easily understand the format of the data, and you can convert that data into your own format. So REST is one of the web service framework. Here, in this architecture style, data is represented in the form of resources. So let's say take an example of employee management system, right? So in that case, you want to create employee, you may want to get list of employee, or you want to modify the existing employee. So basically, REST follows the HTTP model in which you can create, modify, and delete the resource by using HTTP methods.
Just to correct, REST is not a framework as this. REST is more like you can say a way to design websites. One of the ways to
Yeah. Alright, so now to the main topic, which is Spray. Spray is a suite of library that provides you capability of building or consuming REST-based web services. So basically, when I say it provides you capability of consuming REST-based web services, and it works as a client for the REST-based services. Alright.
So using Spray, you can create your own web service. If there is some other web service exposed, you can connect it to that.
So basically, like any client which can call the REST services from the Spray, and at the same time, Spray can work as a client for any of the REST services.
It can make a request to make post food.
Right. Alright. So Spray is basically embeddable HTTP stack for your Akka or Scala-based application. So it is primarily based on Scala. Everything in Spray is written in Scala. It provides you the HTTP integration layer rather than web framework. So basically in Spray you have the API layer, which is to provide the REST capability. So basically it is not a web framework like Play. Have you ever worked with Play? Or maybe you have worked on Spring MVC. Most people have worked on Java. So in Spray, we have just the one layer, which is the REST layer. So we don't have any web UI for that. So you have to use multiple other clients. Like nowadays, what happens is you have to create the application in mobile. You want to use it over the web. So basically, you have multiple clients. So instead of having one single UI, you need multiple clients. So Spray provides that support. It is fully asynchronous and non-blocking, since it is built on top of Akka. I'll explain what is Akka in a bit. And
So your Spray framework available for your Scala framework.
it has capability to work on top of servlet. So basically here there is servlet support for that. So basically whatever application you have built over servlet, you will have one more layer on that, which is Spray based. So you can use servlet based. But you can have your own web.
server will call Spray.
Spray will call the servlet. So basically there is configuration in which you will define what servlet index you are using. So it will give you wrapper over servlet.
My question is more related to Akka, because Akka is available both for Java and Scala. So you can use Spray for Akka framework. So definitely
But the
there
point
should be
is, Akka provided Java library for it. So Akka core is written in Scala. CK is both in Scala and Java. So that's why you can use it. If you have to use Scala and Java, you will somehow.
You have to write a wrapper on Scala, which will be Spray based, and you will be using the wall which exists for servlet. So you have to do some configuration by which you can use the servlet application handle. So question comes, why Spray is needed. The first thing, in Scala there is no framework or no library which is built on completely on Scala. So it has to use some other tools like Servlet or any other Java-based API. So basically, Scala has capability of doing lots of things which Java cannot do. Since it has immutable data structure, or it has many more functionalities which Java cannot do. So Spray people want the Scala, something should be there for Scala which is totally built on Spray. So it is non-blocking since there is Akka. So I'll go through mainly first. Spray gets its power from the Akka. So how many of you do know about Akka? Okay, so could you tell me what is Akka?
The Akka is a framework for writing your which is called as application programming, in which all your application is designed using actors and your communicate using message passing.
Exactly. So basically it is a toolkit that provides the capability of creating concurrent, distributed and fault-tolerant event-driven application. So basically, as you told, it is based on actor model. So we need to know about actor first. Actor are just like normal object, but they are not at all like the normal object. So basically they have behavior, they have state as the normal Java object can have, but it has capability that no other object can be inside the actor. So you have to, if you want to modify some state of any actor or you want to get access to those states, you need some kind of messaging system which are immutable messages and asynchronous. So basically these is done using the mailbox of the actor model. So whenever any actor want to connect with another actor, it will send some message in form of immutable messages in general. So those messages will be arrived at the mailbox of the actor. Actor will fetch the message from the mailbox and then will execute those messages. So it won't return anything, but it can communicate back to another actor by sending some messages. So it is non-blocking in terms, plus it internally uses thread. So at a time there can be millions of actors which are reliant on one single thread. So here you and these all things are abstracted from the user. So the thread pooling is done by actor system itself. So user need not to worry about those abstraction here. Okay, when we talk about Spray, so basically if you have your application ready, alright, your application is working fine with some other module in your application layer. So you are just using your one application with other modules, and now you decided that you want to expose this module to some other party. So what will you do? You need to expose it via REST services, right? In general, if you are talking about any REST-based frameworks, then what you will do? You will modify your application based on the framework. Since you have to implement some method of those frameworks, in that case your application has to be moved according to the frameworks. But as Spray is a library, so you just need one API layer which is REST-based. So now this layer is responsible for handling any of the HTTP requests. It will take that HTTP request, then it will modify that request, it will extract the data from the request, or maybe change some headers, or maybe it will check for the security if the request is valid or not. So all of the things which has to be done in the HTTP layer is done in this particular layer. And now when it converts the HTTP request into domain object, and then it can call the application. As the application is already working, so let's say you have a service, you want to create some employee, you will just pass the employee object. So your application will be doing that, and it will return you back the response. And now this response again has to be converted into JSON so that it can be traveled through the network and any other client can access that. So the
how does Spray does that? I mean, if I write my application in a way where my REST layer is basically interpret from my application code, I I could still achieve it in any other framework as well, right?
Yeah, you can do that.
But why spray? So what is the advantage of spray here?
So basically, let's just take an example of Play framework. So I have worked in a couple of frameworks like Spring MVC. So in Spring MVC, your application is totally coupled with the
know
framework.
that it's the
Yeah, so it is totally coupled, right? So here in Spring, your application is totally decoupled. So what was your question?
So my question is that it depends on how I write my application, right? It's not about there must be something that spray is providing inherently which makes
It definitely is about your application. How did you manage that application? Now, let's say you never decided that your application is going to be available over the internet. Right? You just wrote your application there and there are services in the form single module, and this module is being used by some other module. So you have as an API you expose that to your another module, but that was the case then. And now you decided that you have to expose this thing to REST, right? In that case, if you will use like Play framework, then you have to modify your application based on the Play framework. So your application will be modified accordingly. You will be using that framework, so you have to modify something in this particular layer. But in case of display, you won't be doing that.
You can just write a Java jar and import that API layer and expose
Exactly.
it.
Same way as you are using this particular module in your
Your
application.
application code will not depend on data, what I'm saying. You can always design your application like this. You can write a simple module, a jar, simple jar, which will expose the functionality in terms of the Java interface.
Yes.
And then you basically can use in your REST API layer.
You could do that, but there is one disadvantage with Play. That is, it is a web framework. So you will be building your. So I'll give my example only. So I was working in one of the applications which were Play based. So since the templating engine of Play was not that good, so I decided to work on the for the UI in AngularJS. Right? Then, but still I had those all templating libraries with me since it was associated with the framework, so it has to be there. Though it wasn't of any
They are
use.
full blown systems actually. Play
Yes.
or Spring MVC, they are kind of frameworks which provide all those functionalities. These
So
are kind of like
yeah, so even if you have to take certain things from that framework, you will have to use the whole framework. So in Spray, you won't be doing that.
Yeah, I think your spray is also using your architecture-based programming framework. So it has similar idea of making it.
It has type. Yes.
Maybe then more affinity towards the architecture rather than
It has more affinity. It is built on top of Akka, so it is Akka based. So you have to have the Akka dependency with you. But thing is, like in Servlet, what happens is you have the request. For each request, we have multiple threads. Like for one request, you have got one thread, and it will be blocked until the request has been completed, right? So you need non-blocking. So you have to have something which can give you millions of requests per second. So this thing using Akka, you can definitely do that. So basically the API layer is responsible for request routing based on methods, path, query or entity. So basically, let's say you want to do something based on post request or maybe get request. So this layer will be responsible where to route the request based on the method or maybe the query parameter, etc. It will be doing encoding, decoding using or maybe compression using gzip, or it will be doing authentication, authorization, and it has also support for caching. So if you have something which is very memory consuming or maybe time consuming, so you would have those things in the cache. So you can use Spray Cache for that. Alright, there are key components of Spray which are Spray routing, Spray client, Spray CAN, and the Spray SDTP. So basically, Spray CAN, Spray routing, and Spray client are based on Spray SDTP model. So in the Spray, you have the data model for SDTP. It is based on the NIO. So in Servlet also uses NIO, but it here Spray SDTP also uses NIO, but it is totally written in Scala and on top of Akka. So it provides you the capability of asynchronous or millions of requests can be handled per second.
is a low-level HTTP server?
This is basically like in a Spray. It uses the HTTP model of Spray HTTP, right? It is directly connected with the NIO layer. So basically that is the layer which is the core layer. So you have to have something over that layer. So basically, if I talk about any other Spray routing, it will uses the Spray CAN. So Spray CAN is low level in terms of it is directly communicating with the NIO layer, whereas the Spray routing will communicate with the Spray CAN at a more higher level.
By NIO you mean the network layer.
Network. Yes. So basically, there are two way doing networking in Java. One is IO. That is completely blocking, right? And then there was NIO, which is non-blocking. So for every IO communication, you are doing it in a separate thread, which in general used by this servlet.
I think it is network, but copy the low level is netty, which netty is the lowest level way to write network program.
Alright, as I have told these things, so basically this server is responsible for connection management or maybe timeout management. So if some request is not fulfilled within a certain time period, it will send timeout about itself. It will create connections for every upcoming connections. Basically, you are not involved of creating. Basically, you are using the inbuilt functionalities of the business layer. Right.
But I would say it will more about
I mean, blocking and non-blocking, because if you compare anything with blocking sockets, I think it becomes low overhead. But the only point is that even if your front end framework is low overhead, but at the back end, you still don't have anything working async. It's still working slow, right? So if I have a database, I have applications connecting to RDBMS and getting data, and I have Akka in front, this Spray in front of that. So it's going to time out more often than not, because then it's going to wait for a response, and the back end is slower than the front end. So the Spray front end can handle a lot more, but if the back end is not capable enough, then it won't make any sense.
Yes. So here, like, if again I'll go back to the servlet. In servlet, what happens is, if you have one request, that thread is blocked to complete that request, basically the database things, right? Now, when we coming back to the Scala word, so those all network layers can be created non-blocking, so by using actor itself or maybe by using future. So that will help.
I mean, you have to do something extra, right? Because I
That
have not
will be
blocking here and even based on the front end, but on the back end I would still be doing synchronous things, right? So in the back end the thread will still be blocked. And we can give an impression that, of course it's non-blocking, it's waiting for an event to happen, which is supposed to happen in a certain time period. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
HTTP layer is basically promising the client that I can work over vectors, I can have scale of 200 to 5,000 scale on the head and vectors. But still it will depend on the actual
Definitely.
it still depends on the application.
So basically, even if you are working in AngularJS application, so there is some type of promises. So they are working on the same concept as event-driven programming is doing. So basically, if your things are waiting for future, so in AngularJS you can wait for the things to come. So basically, using
So if you go back a slide, where it said that it will time out if it seems to happen in a certain time period, right?
Timeout management, right.
So Angular would be waiting for like whatever second, right? If this is sitting on the server end, right? There's a backend application. If this times out, there's nothing in the world that Angular can do.
Yep.
Because now, because HTTP by nature is synchronous, right? So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So I mean, all
This is very nature of the asynchronous programming. So
Yeah.
there you will have to handle some such kind of things.
So all I'm trying to say is that with Spray you need to have equally capable backend as well as this layer that you have to talk. If they are two different on different levels, it will not work.
I think if you take different kind of paradigms and mix them, you will also grow.
If they are scalable enough, right? Of course it can happen, but it has to be more capable. So we are doing this non-blocking IO because we want to handle
My point is, if
non-blocking.
you're using a non-blocking system, then you try to use for database or synchronous API, then you're doing different paradigms. You will always do that. But then you will use something like Slick, which is an database management API. So you will do that route rather than using DDBC directly.
Exactly. So we have to do it differently.
Yes. Yeah, you definitely have to do it. Basically, space that's the only reason space being created, since In Scala, you are doing certain stuff to make sure that the more data streaming or reactive basically Scala is
So basically making a good backend and not
Right.
making a good frontend.
Yes.
In my mind, it's like I have a backend based on Akka elements or actor model asynchronous. It can scale really, really fast, but then I need a layer which is equally capable in the front end, and to match that, I need to have Spray. But if I have like a bullet card, in backend, then there's no point having this.
My point is that if you let's suppose you start using future, basically make a code async, and you just say future.get, then you are programming in asynchronous.
Yes.
So you can go
Even if you are using future, but you are.
Yeah, but when you do get there, you'll have to.
So there are certainly problems with this kind of programming. So one of the project I know, the Geognomy project, they are also using the Spray, and they were using Akka, but they got some problems. So maybe you want to say something on that?
No, the problem was not the Akka asynchronous programming. The problem is with the debugging of it.
So basically, the development developers could not understand things.
Yeah, how the message passes to one of the actors.
That's more of a property of an asynchronous system, right? Because if you have synchronization, you have a flow.
You are able to predict
the stack. But if it's async, be it Akka or any other technology, you would know that the state is very isolated. So it's very difficult to go back and trace how I got there. That's the same for
Yeah, but even Spray actually deals with the handling of the request. It just handles the request and pass it on to the next.
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't matter. It handles and just pass it on.
Yeah, of course. We talk about the backend system. But the point is that if we have Spray in front end, we need to have an equally capable system at the backend. Probably it's going to be async system because this is also based on Akka, it's kind of reactive. So if you have that kind of system, we'll run into this problem where debugging is harder because we don't know what the state of system is. So if both systems are async, then it makes more sense to have Spray in front end, let's say Akka, which are
Yeah, maybe, but what part do you think could be synchronous in your backend?
So all the applications that we work on, recently they're all synchronous. If we are not using reactive or event-based mechanism of any kind, be it actor model or any other, you are doing everything synchronously. You get a request, even a REST call, then there's a database or service controller which will query the database, you will wait for the response, properly format the response, create a JSON and send it back. So from start to end until that point, everything is blocking. If you have async, you just send out a message and return the response. Then you get a call back or message back.
No, I think from the start till the end, there will be, I think, lots of actors which will be handling the smallest part of the task.
Absolutely.
This is happening in the.
Yeah, I think the only blocking part would be the database where you have to make a call and then you have to get.
Then again, you can handle those things using actor. So basically,
Yeah,
non-blocking.
you can handle an actor, but yeah, then actor that would be I think the slowest part because it has to make a call to the database and make it some. It has
Yeah,
some
something
writing
which
rules that
will
it has to
definitely
follow.
take time. You have to control that. I mean, instead of blocking, if you are using some event-driven things, so that is definitely beneficial. I mean, what is the concern?
No.
Okay, alright. So now I'll show some of the setting and the lesson points. So I hope you want mine. I'll take care. Will you mind? Can you see the text? Or should I need to use the font? Anyway. So basically for using Spray, you can use any of the build tool. I have currently used simple build tool, which is Scala based. So you can use Maven or you can use Trader. So you just have to create a new Scala project, which I have already created. I'll just show you how to create that. So maybe new project and that is Scala, and then you can use SBT to create your new project.
SBT stands for
Simple build tool, which is not simple.
I'm sure it's for simple build tool.
Alright, so creating the storage application, what you need is you need to add some dependencies, which like in Maven you can have form eligible in build.gradle. You can similarly there is build.svt for this equal. Here what you have to do is you have to define some of the dependencies which I have already defined. Like I already told you, Spray is dependent on it is SprayCan, which is a server which will be creating the endpoint for the REST application. And there is a Spray routing. It is a DSL which can create your HTTP request more easy and more. The handling will be done very easily in this by using Spray routing. The Spray JSON is for masking and unmasking the data from JSON to the Scala object and vice versa. And it is dependent on the Akka, so you need dependency of Akka as well. Here I have used the Akka version 2.3.6 and Spray version 1.3.2, which are the more recent version of both of the framework. So basically, Spray and Akka go side by side. Whenever any new release is done for this Akka, there is some release for the Spray as well. So in some time, Spray and Akka will be merged together. Even the Play framework which I was talking about will be merged with the Akka system. So everything is one system, which is Akka. Alright. Okay. So for creating the server, I have written some of the code which you might not understand for now. I'll explain it. Okay. So here you can see we have done io-http.system. So basically, what SprayCan does is whenever you ask Spray to create a server, what it will do, it will create a HTTP listener actor. Okay. So here the io-http is doing creating the server for the HTTP extension. Similarly, there is for TCP, for UDP, so you can create multiple extensions, and based on that, there will be one actor will respond based on what type of connection you want to establish. Alright, so what it does is whenever your server started, for each connection, let's say you are sending some request to the server, it will create one more HTTP server connection actor. And now here what we have done is we have created one actor. This is the actor, this is the simple actor listener. So basically, you see, it's an actor. So you need to provide one user-defined actor to this Spray server, so that the request will be handled by the actor created by you. So what happens is whenever any connection is established, HTTP server connection will send a message HTTP connected. Alright. So within the request timeout period, this actor has to send back response that yes, I am ready to register myself, or maybe here instead of self, you can create another actor which will be responsible for handling the request. Now, when it sends the register message to the HTTP server connection actor, then on the request will be arrived at this place. So here, Spray is based on the Spray HTTP model. So here we have the HTTP request object. So HTTP server connection actor will send HTTP request to this endpoint, this actor, and then you can handle that request, and finally you can send the HTTP response again back to the HTTP server connection. So basically the HTTP server connection and HTTP listener actor, you need not to worry about that. Spray by itself will do the handling of that, but what you have to do is you have to define the one message connected, that is must, otherwise the request will be timed out and you won't get any connection. So I can explain it. So now what I am going to do is I am just going to run this server.
So when you say this HTTP bind, so is that the
Yes.
see, how do you send this message connected into this actor?
So these all things are not, you are not doing it. What you are doing is you are sending, so io-http is getting the reference of the HTTP listener actor. Now, whenever you send the HTTP bind message, so basically HTTP bind is just a simple message. So that actor will receive this HTTP bound message. Then what it will do is the listener actor which you have passed to it, it will send the message connected to that particular actor, and then accordingly it has to send the register message, so that the service connector actor will get to know that yes, there is one actor which is ready to receive the request, and then it will send the HTTP request. So here what you are doing is this HTTP request is the spray object, so it is not the real HTTP request which is coming from the client. That the spray is converting that into the HTTP request mess. Basically, this is a case graph which has everything regarding the request. So basically, the header, body, entity, and the parameters.
You're starting a server where you're saying that all my communication is happening via this activity.
Yes. And
On port 8080
and you are providing the local host and the port which you can change. By default, the port is 8080. So you can change the port as I have done. I have done the same though, but the default port is 8080. Now when you run this server, so it will start listening to the local host 8080. Let me now the server started running, and you will see that it may be already started somewhere else. So I have to run the main. I'll go to the terminal now. Working directory. So here my project is here. So what I'll do, I'll just run the svd command, and I can directly run, but that's fine. Alright, let's start compiling things, and it might have started at somewhere. Bound to localhost 27, 80. Right? Let us see. And I have to use card. Okay. So now it responded. This is fantastic message which we are sending back. It automatically does it. So here you can see that even if I type any of the route, it will return me back the same response. Why? Since what we are doing is we are just handling the HTTP request. That could be anything. So if I'll create one more.
But you change port number to 8096?
No, I didn't. This is still 8080.
No,
It was built since it was running some apps. I mean, there was multiple projects which were running. So one was running at 8090 and one was running at 8080.
yeah, both responded. So I thought that
They both cannot move. If one port is open, then you cannot open the another port. The same port on the same machine. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'll just do some changes in the HTTP request, and here alright. So I'm asking this to handle only post request and do certain URI requests. And say this hello. Since the HTTP request is a case class or normal, you can consider it normal Java class, you are instantiating it by passing some argument. But we are only taking care of the first two parameters rather, the method type and the URI. So the rest of the parameter I am just ignoring for now. Okay. So here we have got the request, and now you just respond back the response. Let's see. Now you will have to start the server once again, but Spray had provided one plugin by which if you are changing your code at runtime, it will automatically compile your code and then you need not to start your server. For that matter, I have one plugin which is already with me, which is ISPro SBT Revolver. And to enable that plugin, what you have to do is in build.sbt you have revolver.settings whenever you will write this piece of code here. And then what you will have to do is, instead of simple SBT run, okay. So you have to -start. So basically now, whenever you will make any change, then it will automatically compile and you need not to restart your server. And we have made some change in our request, so okay, so basically this request is just the normal request. And now if I'll see we have this request. If we have request which is having the post and the URI as hello, then it will be handled by this particular message. Otherwise, all the other requests will be handled by the another request. Okay, thank you. So here now you can see I made one change and then it started compiling it again, and I hope it worked this time. That is okay. At least it worked. The message is not correct. So this is fantastic, and I just typed request here. So I didn't just add it as. Now it's again started compiling, and this is fantastic, and this is intent the HTTP request which it receives. Now you can see you can do it for your request. So this code is not looking that great, since you have to type every time this kind of things, and then you have multiple requests to handle. So at the same place, writing this kind of code wouldn't work for you. And it is possible that you have to handle the HTTP request and then modify this request and do certain other action. By writing this way, you won't be happy. So there must be some other way that is there by using the display routing. I'll show that code to you. Now in the starting I have used the actor which was using the action display vector. Now I'll use another actor and I'll just comment this out. Okay, so here in the routing service I have created another actor which extended the HTTP service actor. So basically this HTTP service actor is the actor provided by the spray routing, and it provides it. So for any actor you need to implement the receive method. There is one receive method. This is the rundown. It takes the parameter as a route. So here if you can see we have something one. They have defined one type route. This takes the function as request context and it returns unique. So basically for each route you have to define this kind of route. This request context is the object which contains the HTTP request which you have received. So and the actor ref, and it matches the path. So let's say there is path hello, welcome, and blah blah blah. So what it will do is it will just pass the hello URI first, and then it will find the unmatched parameter, that is welcome, and then it will go further and further and further, and finally it will find out the main route which you have to use. So here what we have done is we have the run route method here. This takes the route. So you have to define some route. Routes are basically the DSL to define REST based URI elegantly. I'll show. So you will find some kind of structure for the routes. So basically, let's say that this route consists of multiple directives. Directives are building blocks to combine multiple routes, and they can give you a more composable route. So here in spray routing, the very first thing you are seeing there is path. So what it does is it takes out the path from the request. Like in this case, if I'll send request localhost 8080/app, so the request will come here, and then it will do certain action and respond back, send back the HTTP response. So again, here is another route complete, which does the same thing. So basically, what you did in the last example, HTTP response dot send HTTP response, and then you pass your request response content within that. And now what we are doing here is we are just using the complete directory and passing some message. It will automatically convert into HTTP response and will send that to the HTTP server connection active. Right? So by looking into this, you might. Are you feeling good? I mean, isn't it better than the last one? Alright, so here what we can do is we can compose multiple routes. Huh? Haven't sent the projectors yet. Alright, so basically here we have the path, so we can compose multiple routes by the tilde operator. So firstly I'll run this example and then we'll see. Chains is automatic. So this we got the response. Now as it was the path directive, so it by default takes the get method. So basically any HTTP request by default is get. So now what we'll do is we'll try to change the request types. So what we'll do is we'll say post.
Where do you use this bytest for test or how your application knows that
Okay, oh sorry, my bad. Here what we have done is we have passed the route to run route method, which is test route, which is basically this. So what you can do is you have depending on your application, like let's say you have user APIs, so you can have your user APIs routes in one place. Then you want to do some other
your mytest routes and XP routes is way of combining.
Yes. So basically you have written them separately, but ultimately you will combine them by the tilde sign like this. Let's see. Now, so now your this test route and the tilde sign will combine the route and all the routes. Yes. Yes. So what it does basically is it will go through the very first route, and then it will see around, it will go inside the routes, and then at the deeper level, if it finds some route which is matching to the request, it will take some action. But, yeah. So basically the matching started from the topmost route, the very first route.
Probably the first if we look at the test route, then
Yes. So if it found the matching path, it will just stop there only and it will handle it. Alright. So
I guess it's order of a trade. Order of a trade.
So finally, what will happen is when you are combining these routes, so whatever the final result is, the route which is there at the first place will be.
If you do XP route, you can handle the test route.
Right?
Then your XP route will.
Yeah, it will have the priority.
Both of them
Since,
have the-
so it is not actually based on the order of using the grid, but order of using the routes. Okay, I made some changes down. So here what I'm doing is I'm just using the post directive. What it will do is it will take any request and find out if it has the post method in it, and it will handle here. So any request which is post and slash app will be handled here, and then it is quite possible that you have multiple post requests but with different routes. So
Complete is basically your actual
complete is basically another directive which takes some argument and convert it into the HTTP response.
So you want to wrap your responses in a certain way, you can do it. That's a common case.
So now what we have done is we have created a path which is app then slash user. So let's say I'll just make one more path. API and then post. This particular piece. Now we have got two routes basically. One is the request which is coming localhost colon 8080 slash app slash user. If it is a request with post method, it will be handled from the top post route. But if it is a request which consists of slash API slash user one, then it will be handled by the second route. Okay, this is the simple routing thing. So there are n numbers of routes out there in the spray. Okay, so you have some basic directives, any term directives, some cache directive, authentication directives, and there are lots of directives. So basically for authentication purposes, you can pick one of the route and pass the required parameters to that, and the things will be done automatically. Now that was the simple request. I'll show example of some marshalling and unmarshalling thing to showcase more power of this way. So that's all. They are yes. These are the complete list of predefined directives, but you can have n number of millions of directives is basically required to application. So let's say your directive get, you have a directive put in there, okay, and you want to combine those directives. So you can just write new route and get or put. So basically any, and you can use this directive in your in the route. So any of the requests which is either get or put will be, you can create, yeah. So basically you require those for supporting the cross-origin request maybe, or maybe you want to support the authentication, so you have to create your own directive. But creation of creating these directives is very easy. You have to extend some predefined directive and composing them together, and you'll get a new directive. Okay. So I have created some simple example to show things. Okay, alright, since it is an XK, so you might be interested in something related to XK. So I have a case class XK, which basically the topic, the presenter, and the type of XK, maybe it's technical or some skill development and anything like that. And we have a list, we have XKs class which basically define a user which has a map of user and the XKs given by him or her. So we have two objects. Now I'll compose some routes which can either receive this as an argument, as an entity, the JSON request, or will send the result into the JSON. So both the way I will show. Okay, I have just the XK route, which is path prefix basically is a directive is find out the path starting with /API. Now I'll show some. I'll explain it in a while. I have a service. So I have one example where we have the route start. Focus. Alright. So we have the route which is start from XK, and now we have request post, which actually what it does is it send the JSON request in its body, and now what we are doing is we are just extracting that JSON from its body, which is done using the entity. So entity is again a directory. What it does is whatever JSON you have sent, it will convert into the object defined by you. Like in this case, what we have done is we have used the XK. So whatever request you are getting from the your client, it will be converted into the object which you are trying to define. If it cannot convert, it will send the rejection. But here we are expecting that we will get the true. So now we have the XK service which is creating one XK for us. Whatever JSON we send, it will create one XK. And in another request, what we are doing is we are trying to get list of all the XKs. So we will start with XK, API says XKs plus all, and it will give back the XKs written by the XK service. So I hope comparison is not here. I have one example of the taken out. So what I did, I just created a post method. Actually, it works with -XK. Anyway, there is request which is going from API says XK, and you are passing one JSON, which is basically the XK JSON, and you have defined the content tag. So what it did is just created the XK and then written back the object of XK. Right? Okay. Now what I do is I just call the so by now it has just created one. Samir, any doubt? Anyway, so for now we have created one XK. Then now I just asked to get all the XK which are listed there. So we got one list of XK. Now let us try to create it is just the application which I am using. So I mean it is in memory. This is space independent of the application you are working in. So I don't do anything on that. So that's fine for now. We just go. And let's say I'll just choose it and so I created a new one now. I printed, I think, hard coding is in there. Let me see a code. Okay, so basically, let me say I just hard coded things, but anyway, the thing is done correctly while create by adding the XK, but I just completed the response with hard-coded XK. So here,
You want to use $XT.
no, that is anyway, but that is simple string. So you can consider it a simple string. So it is written in this. But anyway, and now we have got the two. But this magic is happened due to some of the things which we did. I'll show what are the things. So here we have the XK object. Now I'll make some changes and then you will let me know what was happening there. I'll just comment this out and also comment as well. Now okay, let us try this again for the yes. Okay, the changes. Now here you see some error. It says that could not find implicit value for unmasking dot from request unmasker dot for the XK. So basically the entity object which we are using here is trying to convert something into XK. But this XK type is the normal case class. But what it expects is it should be unmaskable. So there is the unmaskable object in the string JSON. So you need something of type of